Hello, I'm Anna. Thanks for joining me on another episode of Inflation Watch, where Bank of Jamaica highlights the main factors influencing price movements in Jamaica. Now, there's a term that I want you to pay attention to. It's headline or annual inflation. It's the general rate of increase in prices over a 12-month period as measured by the Statistical Institute of Jamaica Statit. Now, at September 2024, headline or annual inflation was 5.7%. Now, this is welcome news as it represents a return of inflation to Bank of Jamaica's target range of 4 to 6%. Great, remembered. At August, inflation had exceeded the target range largely as a result of the impact of Hurricane Beryl. Inflation in September 2024 was primarily driven by increased prices of certain food items, including fruits such as ripe bananas, papayas, pineapples, watermelons, and dried coconuts, as well as vegetables like sweet peppers, tomatoes, and cucumber. Starchy foods like yams and green bananas also cost more in September relative to last year. These price increases reflected the continued effects of Hurricane Beryl on agricultural food supply. Increased fares for route and hackney carriage taxes in October 2023 also continued to influence price increases in September 2024. In that month, too, higher rental and water sewage rates also contributed to higher headline inflation. Now, it's important to note that inflation at September was lower than the 6.5% recorded at August 2024 and well below the peak of 11.8% recorded in April 2022. Remember that? This lower inflation at September relative to August reflected lower electricity rates, while the generally lower inflation at September compared to the peak in April 2022 and several months since then was supported by BOJ's monetary policy. On September 30, 2024, the bank announced the Monetary Policy Committee's decisions to do two things. Right, number one, to further reduce the policy rate by 25 basis points BPS to 6.5% per annum, effective October 1, 2024, while managing domestic liquidity accordingly. And number two, to continue to take measures to preserve relative stability in the foreign exchange market. The decision of the MPC to loosen monetary policy further was based on an improvement in the inflation outlook. So now that you're aware of the factors that influenced inflation outturn at September 2024, let's review some general information about inflation with my co-host, BJ.
Hi, BJ here. Let's recap some of what we talked about inflation so far. Bring you up to speed. When you hear Sheena, Anna, and other people talk about inflation, them talking about the general rate of change in the price of goods that we buy and services we use. Prices go up sometime in a short space of time. It's not so bad when the increase is small and manageable, like what Bank of Jamaica working to achieve. Price increases between 4 and 6% over any 12-month period. We call that stable and predictable.
How them measure inflation?
For that, we look at the Consumer Price Index. Remember, that's like the basket of goods and services we buy. The Statistical Institute of Jamaica, Statin, they look at over 10,000 prices every month to put together the CPI. It's about 330 goods and services in that basket. The items are put into 12 groups based on what people use them for. Each item in the basket is given a weight. The more you spend on an item, the larger its weight. So inflation is a measure of how your cost of living changes. How they collect those prices to measure inflation? Prices for things like petrol and farm produce are collected 2 times a month because of their sometimes unpredictable price changes. Other prices like school fees, they collect every 3 months. Prices for other goods and services are collected once a month in all 14 parishes where people do most of their shopping and spend money on services. Prices are checked for correctness before calculating the figures for inflation over a month or a year and to see if prices and your cost of living move down or up. But me don't look too bad on TV. Send me your questions and let's keep talking about inflation later.
Thanks, BJ. And that's a wrap for Inflation Watch this month. Join us again next time when Bank of Jamaica will bring you another episode of Inflation Watch, where we track inflation and explore the factors influencing price changes in Jamaica. I'm Anna. Keep watching.